Hey guys, it's Joe at the Joe Madden Sports Podcast here, joined this afternoon by Alex Smith, co-host of the Ice Guys Sports Handicapper at Against the Numbers. Alex, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for having me on again. Had an incredible night last night with the game Tampa Bay, trying to make it a series now, and now we got game 4 tomorrow. Colorado, it's pretty much this is a make or break for both teams. I feel like I think if Colorado wins this tomorrow, they can move forward and take care of business at home. But Tampa can tie it up. I mean, the legacy continues, and maybe we see them, make another comeback in the series and complete the three-peat. So exciting time right now. I'll be watching hockey for sure.
So, in your opinion, game 4 is the swing for who takes the Stanley Cup?
Absolutely, absolutely. I said that last night. We did the Ice Guys with a live bet cast, and and seeing Tampa Bay the way they dominated, and they did what they had to do in that spot. But like I said, everything rides on Game 4, in my opinion. Whoever wins this series, it's going to be determined on basically who wins tomorrow night.
It's last night was phenomenal to see for anyone cheering for Tampa. The way that they were able to play their game last night compared to what we saw in game 1 and game 2. How did you do betting wise in that game? Were you riding with Tampa going into that one initially?
No, I stayed away from the side. I went with the first period over, which I had already been on the first two games, so was able to cash that, and
Yep.
more than likely going to be riding that as well for Game 4. I mean, that's just we've been seeing the pace of play at a high level throughout the series, and even though there were only 3 goals in the first yesterday, it could have easily been 5 or 6. I mean, both
Absolutely.
goaltenders made big saves. Vasilevsky stood on his head throughout the night, and you know the score is a bit misleading because yes, it was a 6-2 Tampa win and they played great, but Colorado didn't have a terrible game last night. It was just a matter of just Tampa like imposing their will and taking the body more. They led in hits, even though Colorado led the game in shots on goal. So it just they did what they had to do in that spot. They know. We saw them take out Florida in the second round in a sweep. They knew if they were down 3-0, they lose that game. They weren't going to be able to come back in Game 4. So it was an all hands on deck effort by the Lightning, and they're going to have to try to duplicate that again in Game 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to see them push that pressure and that speed that we saw out of them last night. Were you shocked that with Tampa getting the win, it was such a high scoring game? Did you expect more defensively from Colorado in that one?
No, not really. I mean, it's been high scoring this entire series. I mean, we've seen the overcash in 3 straight, and the fact that it hasn't moved to 6.5 or 7 yet. The books are still hanging up a 6. That's the only way you can really kind of look here. I mean, the
Yep.
goaltending obviously is the X factor for Tampa Bay with Vasilevsky. Now, people are kind of putting some question marks and doubts on Kemper and saying maybe Francois should start. Both goalies have been tremendous throughout the season, and it's interesting. You don't always see teams just kind of flip flop goalies in the playoffs. You really try to just stick to one guy and ride him through, but maybe Francois could be the guy to kind of get things rolling along in Game 4, and then you go back to Kemper in Game 5.
Do you,
It's a possibility.
do you think it's fair to Kemper to well, I think he should have been pulled last night because it mentally gets hard.
Yeah, sure.
But do you think the whole narrative is fair after he got a shutout in game 2?
Well, I mean, here's the thing: he got a shutout, but he only faced 18 shots.
Yeah.
Tampa just completely kind of folded it up. Midway through the second and third periods of that game too. So that's a slightly misleading shutout. It wasn't exactly if he had posted a shutout making 35 saves and some big saves, that would be the difference. So, and keep in mind, Kemper, the reason Francois had to come in during that Edmonton series was, Kemper having, some concussion-like symptoms, issues with the eye that happened from the first round series against Nashville. So you wonder if maybe, he's still kind of battling through some of those things. And when you've had concussions, I don't know if you've had them. I've had a few concussions myself. You can have symptoms kind of trigger out of nowhere, and things can linger off and on. You have good days and bad days with those. So that's something to kind of keep in mind with this kind of two goalie tandem. If Kemper is having if he gets bumped around a bit or something, you have to kind of keep an eye on him, and maybe you have to have Francois ready to jump in action. So that is definitely the big question mark hanging around with Colorado, but that's really the only worry. I mean, their defense is still solid. They're still rolling 4 lines. The offense is going to be, that speed and skill they have up front is tremendous. Nathan MacKinnon, as quiet as he was last night, I don't expect him to be quiet at all in Game 4 and beyond. Kale McCarr has been great. Valerie Nichushkin. This is a solid team, and they're going to be able to bounce back. The resiliency that Tampa has, and we saw in Game 3, Colorado has that same resiliency. We've seen it all postseason long, and I think they'll be able to bounce back tomorrow.
Okay, so Game 4, you're looking for Colorado to have a bounce-back game. Take the win there. Do you think they win it big if they win it?
I don't know if it's going to be big. I think it's going to be more of a back and forth. I expect it to be a lot like Game 1, not necessarily going to overtime, but I think it's going to be, they're going to be trading goals back and forth. It's going to be a chippy game. We saw the chippiness late in the third period of the last game. You saw the fight with Logan O'Connor. And you got had a couple of Pat Maroon had a couple of big hits and so forth. So you're going to see a lot of chippiness. I think that's going to lead to a lot of power plays, which really the edge for that would go to Colorado. Their power plays have been lethal lately, and Tampa Bay's got to try to figure out a way to get some power play goals themselves. But I expect it to be back and forth, but I do like Colorado to win tomorrow.
Okay, it is definitely going to be a great game. We've seen a couple of trends so far with this series. We've seen that first period coming into the over. We've seen two, I believe it's only 2 of the third periods gone scoreless. We did have a score in that second game in the third period, I believe. And any of these trends that you're looking at to continue into the fourth game?
Yeah, well, like I said, the first period over, I'll be riding that as well. I've bet that 3 games in a row, so I'm going to just keep riding that. And I expect the same kind of intensity and pace early in the game because the narrative's the same as far as the first period goes in my mind. For Colorado, you want to try to establish your dominance and take the crowd out of the game. The way you do that is by scoring a goal early. Same thing with Tampa Bay. You want to keep that momentum up. The crowd's going to be rocking and rolling right off the puck drop. You want to keep things at a fever pitch. You got to score early. He said, and don't take too many dumb penalties. Limit your exposure as far as making clean hits, clean passing, which is what we've seen from Colorado. They've been the better team as far as moving the puck and passing the puck along. Even in Game 3, despite the loss, they were the much better team as far as passing the puck and advancing the puck. It seemed like they were just always in Tampa's zone. They hardly spent time in the neutral zone. It was either Tampa Bay scoring or it was Colorado moving the puck around in the offensive zone. So we're going to see that pace and tempo early again. And you're only laying $1.35 or $1.40 right now with that 1.5. I think that's a good bet for tomorrow.
Absolutely is. Okay, any other props that you're looking at for tomorrow night? The total, anything else you've got for us, Alex?
Yeah, I would lean with that. Like I said, over 6. That's the only way I can go. I think if Tampa wins tomorrow, that's when we'll start to see the change in styles. I think that's when we'll start to see things slow down, and that's maybe when you start looking at the unders. And that's kind of historically a thing. You look at, certain series, look at Tampa Bay when they played Toronto. That was a high-scoring series early, and then once they got to Game 6 and 7, you saw the games go under. So the defense will be a bit more up front if Tampa makes this a 2-2 series, because now it turned into a best of 3 essentially, and things are going to, guys are going to grab their sticks a little tighter, and we're not going to see as many open chances. But right now, I think we're still going to see that kind of open style of play, and that leads to Colorado. They're the ones that dictate the pace as far as speed goes.
Okay, I love it. What have you got for sale for everyone over at Against the Numbers?
Yeah, go to againstthenumber.com. You can get daily packages. Football's coming up, so I have football packages there too. You can also visit axsmithsports.com, where I have full packages for all sports that I do. It involves UFC and boxing in the summer as well. And find me on Twitter at axsmithsports. Tomorrow, the Ice Guys will have the live betcast for Game 4. We did it for Game 3, and a lot of people came in, and it's a fun, friendly atmosphere. We make live bets, have a few drinks and watch the game, and so it's a lot of fun. So that'll be going on right as the game starts tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Follow us at _Ice Guys. Be me, Ian Cameron, Andrew McInnes. We'll have some other guests on as well. I know, Joe, you've joined us before for the betcast as well, so it'll be a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. You guys, have the game on the TV and join us online as well.
Yeah, definitely. Always a good time. I've got one question for you on that. How much Pink Whitney did Ian consume last night?
Ian had about maybe, I think, like 3 or 4 shots of it, which, I mean, and that's pretty solid. I've drank with Ian before. We've known each other for years, and he can hang. So he took it easy with just the 3 or 4 shots. I'll probably grab a bottle myself for tomorrow too to join along with him. So.
I was telling him that stuff does not get consumed by me after I thought it was a 15% drink, not a 30% drink the last time that I had it.
Yeah, it's sneaky. That lemonade comes in heavy right at the front, but then all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's some vodka in there.
Yeah, do not mix that stuff, you guys. If you're listening, Pink Whitney mixed is it's a deadly combination in the sunshine. It seems like a good idea at the time, but I can't wait, Alex. I'll definitely be popping on the podcast with you tomorrow night. It will be a lot of fun. The betcasts are always a hoot. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you for coming on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast.
Of course, thanks for having me as always.
Take care. Thank you.